I think this is interesting. So, Aaron Rodgers reportedly asked for a trade back in 2021. It was him or it was get his GM fired. And this is what Aaron Rodgers had to say on The Athletic about the situation. He said, "Did Brian text me more than I texted him? Yeah, but did I ghost him? No. There was back and forths that we had, and so this is the story you want to go with? You're going to stand on this hill of austerity and say that arguably in the conversation of the best player in your franchise history, I couldn't get a hold of him, and that's why we had to move on? Just tell the truth. You wanted to move on. You didn't like the fact that we didn't communicate all the time. Like, listen, I talk to the people that I like." Woo! Some very, pinpoint words by Aaron Rodgers. I want to know, what's your reaction to Aaron Rodgers'
I don't understand
comment?
his statement. What's he mean by austerity? Put that back up
It's
there.
Aaron
again.
Rodgers. What?
What's he say?
Let's bring that up. You want to see the austerity? Here we go.
It says, you're going to stand on this hill of austerity and say that arguably in the conversation of the best player in your franchise history?
Austerity, sternness, sternness or severity of manner?
Austerity means that you don't want to, it's like a minimalist.
Sternness or severity of manner or attitude. That's the definition here. Or there's more extreme plainness and simplicity of style or appearance or conditions characterized by severity, sternness, or I don't even know that other word. So, I mean, I want to go first on this if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
Here's the problem I have with what Aaron Rodgers is saying. He got all mad the fact that the Packers drafted Jordan Love back in 2020. They traded up to get his replacement. And what's funny is that Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre literally have identical careers right now. They both stayed with the Packers for 16, 17, 18 years. Then they go to the same exact team, the New York Jets, for a year. Now, we'll see if Rodgers stays there for multiple years. It'd be surreal if he goes to the Vikings, which actually may be set up because Kirk Cousins may be one step out the door. So this might get even more crazy than we already see it. But I will say this. When people compare, the greatest quarterbacks of all time, I always hear Rodgers is better than Brady. Okay, let's compare then. In 2014, when the Patriots drafted Jimmy G, I believe in the second round, Belichick wanted Jimmy G to be Tom Brady's replacement. And in 2017, that was put into play. That Belichick, now this comes out reports, is that Belichick wanted to move off of Brady in 2017 in favor of Jimmy Garoppolo. It wasn't until Robert Kraft said, hold up. No, Tom Brady's our quarterback. Get off of Jimmy G. But let's focus on 2014 when they first drafted him. Did Brady pout and make, ambiguous statements and really keep his mouth shut and say a whole bunch of nothing? No. Did Aaron Rodgers do that by Jordan Love? Yeah, he did. What Tom Brady did was he played really well in the regular season. Then he went to how many Super Bowls and won how many? He won 2014, went to he went to 2016, won that, so that's 2 Super Bowls already. 2017, they made it to the Super Bowl, lost to the Eagles. 2018, they won the Super Bowl again. So instead of talking about the Jimmy G situation and saying a whole bunch of nothing and really seeming passive-aggressive and really focusing on himself, what Tom Brady did was he showed you that he was the better quarterback. He showed you why you should pick him over Jimmy G. What Aaron Rodgers has done is he's passive-aggressive. He's threatened retirement for 3 years. He goes on darkness retreats. He doesn't communicate with his team. And he said, I live in a house with no service, so you got to FaceTime me. Aaron Rodgers, I hate to break it to you, FaceTime also requires service. I hate to break it to you. Now, here's also, you're accountable. If you're not in a place where a team can communicate with you, that's on you. If you were threatening retirement and going into the deep depths of, the forest to go on a darkness retreat and they can't contact you, that ain't on the organization not trying. Like he said, Brian Gutekunst and this team tried contacting you more than you contacted them. You also said that you only talk to people that you like. So that says one thing, you didn't like your own GM and that's why you wanted him fired. So And then also, if we talk about play on the field, whether you showed them, yeah, you had a pretty good regular season in 2021. Brady did outplay you, though statistically, I hate to break it to you, he should have been MVP. And the funny thing was, he was actually above you in the picks for Offensive Player of the Year, yet you still won MVP. That's also interesting as well. However, in the playoffs, you went back to the normal Aaron Rodgers. And now you're on the Jets, who have already accommodated a bunch of your requests. So, come on, Rodgers. I don't like this. You're going out saying that I only talk to people that I like. You tried to contact and all this. Yeah, you didn't ghost them, but you were really passive aggressive. Okay, it's a bunch of nonsense from Aaron Rodgers. But we've heard of this for the past 4 years.
Yeah,
so.
Well, that's a very interesting analysis. I like the analogy to Tom Brady, and I think you're right. But I will say that Aaron Rodgers did, after they drafted Jordan Love, right? He won 2 MVPs.
That is true.
Right? He had one season where he threw for 48 touchdowns and had only 5 interceptions and had over 4,000 yards passing. So he had excellent seasons. He just can't keep his mouth shut.
Well, I mean, also in the playoffs, he's a choke artist.
Well,
playoffs, he's a choke artist.
Okay, but I'm just saying, he had very credibles. He won 2 MVPs after they drafted Jordan Love. So I do think that no matter what he said, his actions on the field showed that, he stepped up, and you drafted Jordan Love. I'll show you. I'm a better player than he is, and he did show that. He did get to the conference championship in 2 of those years, right?
In one of those years,
one of them, and he barely lost
to Brady, though.
He lost to Brady, but just barely. It was a very close game,
right?
And so, I think that he's got problems in terms of the way he communicates and the way he says things in public that he should keep behind closed doors. I think that's a problem for Aaron Rodgers, and it probably will be a problem for him with the Jets. We'll have to wait and see.
I think it'll be a bigger problem.
And it's something that Brady was a master of. He never said anything that was to get him into trouble or get the organization into trouble in public. What he said behind closed doors, I don't know. But he kept it behind closed doors if it was a negative thing. And that's something that separates him and Aaron Rodgers by a wide margin.
Oh, big time. I will say this, though. People always hark to that. I always talk about the San Francisco game where Aaron Rodgers didn't show up. Oh, you're playing the San Francisco 49ers, a great defense. Jimmy G got pressured more than you did. If you take a look at the numbers, Aaron Rodgers was actually protected better against that 49ers defense than Jimmy G was against the Packers defense. Aaron Rodgers, MVP year, where he threw 37 touchdowns with only 4 interceptions, almost 69% completion percentage, 4,100 yards. And you lost to Jimmy Garoppolo, who started that game 0 for 7. You didn't come to play.
In that game, they looked good in the first quarter.
The first half, they were pretty good.
In the first half, and then they did nothing in the second half. And that could be...
Take over.
That could be the 49ers coaching, too. They made adjustments at halftime, and their defense played out of this world in the second half, and the Packers just couldn't do anything.
But imagine, though, we take a look at we take a look now. Mahomes against great defenses excels in the pocket while being pressured. He has, I think, the best passer rating in NFL history. I think he has a pretty high completion percentage as well. He could perform under pressure against really great defenses in the playoffs. Rodgers, we talk about here. I feel like Rodgers hasn't been great in the playoffs for years. He hasn't made a Super Bowl in 12 years now? And he's supposed to be this all-world player. Now, his ability to throw the football, he could throw off his back foot and he throws it 50 yards. That's something that still blows my mind how that's even possible. How he could just effortlessly just flick his wrist and it goes 65 yards. I don't understand it personally, but there's this whole thing about how he couldn't contact his GM and the GM should just FaceTime or whatever. Like, that's just stupid. I'm sorry. And by the way, if you were really that guy, I don't think the Packers would move off of you. Brady moved off of the Patriots. The Patriots didn't move off of Brady. They offered him a contract. They offered him something. But he knew the talent wasn't there. The weapons weren't there.
They asked him what he wanted. They asked him what he wanted.
He wanted long-term security. Belichick would not give him long-term. He wanted 1 year. Belichick wanted 1 year deals or 1 or 2 year deals. He did not want this long.
No, but in the end, they brought him in and said, "What does it take for us to keep you here?"
And Brady
he said, "I'm leaving."
Yeah, no, he's done. Rodgers, the Packers moved off. Like, they were done with you. And it wasn't your play. I mean, yeah, you were pretty bad this past year.
I think it's the way he dissed. It's a behavior and the way he dissed the team and was not a good teammate.
He was threatening retirement for 3 years.
That's something that I think the Jets have underestimated, and they've kind of looked beyond, and maybe to their detriment when this is all over. We'll see.
Think about it. If Rodgers has a bad game and then goes back to his narcissistic media deflection that he normally does, what's going to happen in New York media?
Yeah, that's a good point.
New York ripped Zach Wilson when he got asked the question, did you cost your team the game? And he said no. New York ripped him for that. We talked about it on the show here. Yeah. They ripped him for that. If Rodgers, if he has a bad game and he says, he just becomes the normal Aaron Rodgers self, what the hell is WFAN going to say? What are all these other SNY radio? What are they going to say about Aaron Rodgers? Like, what's New York media going to do?
He's going to be in a different fishbowl when he's in New York than he was in Green Bay. It's going to be much tougher for him media-wise.
Green Bay, like in Green Bay, you got really nothing. You got like no major teams. It's the Packers, and I guess in the state of Wisconsin, you also have the Milwaukee Bucks. But outside
you have the Milwaukee Brewers too.
Yeah, well, that's baseball. Baseball's going down. I will say this though: football is the #1 sport in America. You have the Green Bay Packers, and that's it. In New York, you have the Giants, you have the Jets, you have major sports teams that have largely been successful, I would say, for the most part.
The Jets.
The Jets.
No, I'm not saying the Jets have not been successful.
Hey, they beat the Patriots and made the AFC Championship twice.
They never won a Super Bowl in your lifetime. Right? And they have
even about 40 years before
almost
my lifetime.
Mine.
No, I'm talking about sports.
I think I was 12 years old when they won the Super Bowl.
I'm not talking about just football. I'm talking about sports in general. Sports in general. I mean, the Giants made the playoffs back in 2016. They made the playoffs this year. The
Giants are a successful franchise.
The Giants have won 4 Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken. 2 with Belichick, 2 with Eli Manning, beating Belichick, which is crippling for me and you. But I think, honestly, New York media is going to be rough because guess what? They're hungry. You're a Super Bowl winner. You're a, 4-time MVP. You're, 2 seasons removed from being an MVP.
Yeah, you're almost 40 years old, too.
And
you're almost 40 years old, and you're someone who does not get along well with your teammates or doesn't really care to get along well with your teammates. I think that could be a problem.
I agree. And I think, truthfully.
And I think the media, if they start sensing that or they see that a little bit, they'll be all over New York.
It's going to be like blood in the water, and the media's going to be the sharks. There's going to be like, okay, let's
we're part of the media in New York, and we're all over it right now, and it hasn't even started.
No, absolutely. And that's just because it's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's a polarizing figure in the NFL. He thinks he's smarter than he's a very intelligent person, but he has a narcissistic, I'm smarter than you persona that pisses a lot of people off. Because it's like, okay, yeah, you play the sport, but also you also don't know as much as you think you do. Now, he's a very intelligent person, but him coming in and being this narcissist himself, he's like, I won the MVP. I made it to the play. No, it's a we.
Yeah, I was the greatest player in Green Bay's Packers history. That is, I think that rubs people the wrong way in Green Bay when you see Bart Starr, who played for the Green Bay Packers.
Also, Brett Favre as well.
Brett Favre,
he's up there.
But Bart Starr in particular.
Well,
he won 5 championships for the Packers.
Green Bay was called Title Town.
Yeah.
It's been more than a decade since they won a title. I think they're stripped of that title for a little while now. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see moving forward how the Jets accommodate Aaron Rodgers. They already got him. Randall Cobb, who he's going to be the 7th wide receiver on the depth chart. He may get a snap a game. Where does he fit in? I'm still waiting.
Yeah, you know what? That could be a problem for Rodgers if they don't let him play a little bit, right? And he may not be. He probably is the number 7 receiver on the team. He's down low on the chart there, right?
Yeah.
And Rodgers is going to have his favorites will be Cobb and Lazard. Yeah. And the Jets have those other guys who Wilson, who was a very good
player of the year. He's offensive rookie of the year, Garrett Wilson. So I don't know. It's going to be crazy to see what the Jets do moving forward. You have Nathaniel Hackett there, so Rodgers has some connection with the offense. But Robert Saleh, he's so far we've seen he can coach defense, offense.
We'll see about Robert Saleh, who is still a little bit unproven in my mind, right? And how he deals with dare I say, prima donna and Aaron Rodgers, and when there's a little bit of a problem, what's he going to do? He's just going to look the other way, my guess. He's not going to deal with it.
Yeah,
and that's going to make things worse.
I completely agree.
But None of this has even happened yet. We'll have to wait and see.
Great talking points. The NFL is always interesting, always a hot topic. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.